Welcome to a Friday edition of Breaking the News Plus. We're going to get a little sporty spice today because my good friend Michael Rand from the Star Tribune has agreed to be on the show and talk all things Timberwolves. Even the series last night. So that basically means they're going to win the title, right, Randy?
I mean, I like him in the series. I like it as long as Steph Curry is out. You don't know how long he's going to be injured, but he's going to miss games 3 and 4. He missed game 2. Wolves are the better team. They're favored. They're the better team. So I don't know if it means they're going to win the championship, but I like their chances of getting past this round at least.
I mean, you bring up Steph Curry's injury. Like, isn't there an adage in sport that you want to beat the best team? Like, we shouldn't be celebrating that their best player's out, even though it might make it better for us?
I don't think anybody's celebrating it, but it's a fact. Like, he's their best player. He's a Hall of Famer. They don't have a lot of offense now that he is injured, so this is going to be hard for them to score a lot. But they'll be back at home on Saturday, so maybe everything will be different. But I think the Wolves have the clear upper hand now, which is weird to think.
Yeah. Anytime we say a men's professional sports team in Minnesota has the upper hand, they're the better team, this should be easy, it seems like the wheels fall off the wagon. Is that possible still?
Well, I mean, you saw in game 2 last night, I mean, everybody held their breath when Anthony Edwards crumpled to the court holding his ankle. You don't know what the injury is at this point. You saw the replays and you were like, okay, it looked like he got rolled up on, maybe not the end of the world. And indeed he came back into the game, but like, hey, if he gets injured, that changes the complexion of the series. Like, anything can happen, obviously. Golden State could still win even without Stephen Curry, even without anything else weird happening, but it obviously changes the complexion of things. He's just such a great player. He had been playing at a high level in the playoffs, a high level all season, even though he's in his 17th season in the league, 16th season in the league. He's still one of the best.
Riddle me this. So I've been here 22 years, and the end of last year, the end of the last Timberwolves season, and now this playoff season, which to me it always feels like the NBA starts when the playoff starts. These are the 2 years in my time here that the Wolves have been any good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time, maybe since the inception of the franchise, minus some of KG's runs, but running 2 years in a row of the playoffs is pretty unusual for the Wolves, right?
Yeah, this is the first time they've ever won back-to-back, ever had 2 years where they were back-to-back, like at least advancing in the playoffs. And, they had that stretch, right after KG took them to the conference finals in the 2003-2004 season, everything fell apart. That team the next year had great expectations, didn't even make the playoffs. A couple of years, KG gets traded. They're off in the wilderness for 13 years, don't make the playoffs for 13 straight years. Yeah, the one Jimmy Butler season, oh, by the way, they're playing against Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors now, so that angle in play. But, until Anthony Edwards got here, it was really a lot of rebuilding, recalibrating, not a lot of success. And now you're right. This feels like the first time in a long time that they've built anything that's, long-lasting or sustainable.
And obviously because of Anthony Edwards' age and the look of the younger players we have, they could be a good team for a while.
Mm-hmm. They could. Yeah, I mean, the way they're structured right now, it's going to get a little interesting in the offseason with, money, salary cap, Naz Reid, probably a free agent. Julius Randle can opt out of his contract and, look for more money, things like that. So it's not guaranteed that this entire core will be here, but Anthony Edwards is signed long-term. He's 23 years old. Jaden McDaniels is signed long-term. He's still very young. You've got Rudy Gobert signed. You've got a lot of these core players that are signed for the foreseeable future. So as long as you've got Edwards and some sort of supporting cast around him, you're going to be very good or at least competitive. So yeah, this is it's built right. It's built to last, and it's built to win now and down the road.
So if we were to beat Golden State, there's still the Western Conference Finals. But let's just have some fun here. Let's just imagine that they get to the NBA Finals. And let's just imagine that New York takes out Boston and they come out of that side. That sets up a matchup of someone that Timberwolves fans love a lot, who now plays for New York.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns, and a matchup of someone that the Wolves fans don't necessarily love a lot, head coach Tom Thibodeau. But
Oh,
it's that would be an epic showdown, right? Like they traded him right before training camp started. He helped get them to the conference finals last season. He was here for 9 years. A lot of people love him. First overall pick in 2015. The fact that New York is up 2-0 in their series against Boston is stunning in its own right. If they were to make it all the way to the finals, which at this point, both franchises have a chance to do it, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this hypothetical matchup, which I think was a pretty long shot at the beginning of the playoffs, Wolves were a 6 seed, New York was a 3 seed who hadn't beaten anybody of consequence in the regular season. It looks like a lot more possibility. No, that would be a ton of fun. I think that would be a fun series for sure.
I never got to ask you, at least on the record, Michael Rand. Was it a mistake to trade Cat, or was it good?
I liked it. I was on board from the beginning. I've never been as big of a fan of his game as other people. I think there's some deficiencies to how he plays that I think he overcame some of them last year, and I liked him more last year than I had at any point in a long time from his journey. But I thought it was a good trade. I thought it gave them the flexibility they needed to win in the future and win now. I think it took a while for Julius Randle to kind of get acclimated here to become what they hoped he would be, but he's been terrific in the playoffs. He was great down the stretch of the season, and they got Dante DiVincenzo in the deal to give them the kind of that 8-player depth in their rotation. And when everybody's healthy, they have undoubtedly the best 8 in the league.
The best 8 in the league.
Yeah, 8 deep. I mean, they don't have the best 5, but they have the best 8. I would argue with that for sure.
And when you get into that kind of leads into a question that my wife and I have been talking about, and I was just talking to producer JJ about it for tonight's show. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, the NBA playoffs are just obnoxiously long.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, they don't, and they're even longer than they used to be. I feel like it used to always wrap in like early-ish June, and it just takes forever now. And it's so many rounds. They get random off days. You've got probably some of it is they want to give players adequate rest. Some of it's like arena availability because some of these teams share arenas with hockey teams or share arenas with their concert venues, so they're booked for certain things. Like they have like certain dates where they can't book stuff, but like you'll see like the Wolves series, they're playing every other day until between games 5 and 6. They have 3 days off. They play on the 14th, and they don't play against it until the 18th, as long as the series is still going. Yeah. So it takes forever. It does. It's too long. It's too much.
It makes for the average person kind of hard to stick with it, I would say. Like when you're trying to get people on board and maybe they don't care, but just like, oh my goodness, this is an investment.
Well, yeah, my wife will be like, she'll say, "What this is still happening?" I'm like, this is only the second round. Like, so buckle up. Like, this is, I hate to break it to you, but yeah, I'm going to be doing this for a while here as long as they keep winning. So, yeah.
The other question I had is, so the difference between the Wolves in Game 1 and Game 2, those are the kinds of things that make Minnesota sports fans a little bit worried about caring too much, where it's like, whoa, who was that showed up in Game 1? And then they came back in Game 2. It seemed to be a little more dialed in because you couldn't be less dialed in than you could have been the first time. Mm-hmm. That hot and cold is that what is this team's Achilles heel, the inconsistency?
I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, and if you're a Minnesota sports fan, you worry about you just worry. We can stop there. You worry about anything. You worry about success. You worry about failure. You worry about everything that's going on. But that has been kind of the problem with this team this year. They can beat the best teams. Sometimes they have had lapses against the not so great teams. They can look great for a stretch, then have like 4 minutes where you're just like, what are they doing on the court? So they've been more dialed in the playoffs. They've had a more mature approach in the playoffs, I think, than they had for a lot of this season. They started to turn it on towards the end of the year, but yeah, that inconsistency. I mean, between the end of that Lakers series, that last game of the Lakers series, which they actually won, and Game 1 of this series against Golden State, they made 12 of 76 3-pointers. Like 12 of 76. Like that's like unconscionable for a team that was one of the best 3-point shooting teams this season by both volume and percentage. Like, it doesn't make any sense other than to say that's the Timberwolves and that's Minnesota sports.
Yeah, I remember, after they beat the Lakers, it's like, oh, we're going to go in with a lot of rest, and Golden State doesn't have any rest, and we're deeper, and then it just comes back to bite us.
Yeah, it did. And it's, sometimes having that much time off can be a little bit to your detriment. But I think they'll play the long game from that regard, in that I think Golden State only having the 1 day of rest between this, having to start that series, logging some heavy minutes here. Curry is out. There's a lot of things that are going against the Warriors right now. I think the Wolves will be well advised to stay focused, to try to get this thing done as soon as possible. You don't want to invite Steph Curry back into the lineup. You don't want to give him any more time to heal. You just want to take care of business as best you can and try to move on as fast as you can.
I heard an interesting observation today that it's actually, this person's an athlete, and they said that they preferred playing on the road, even in playoff situations, because all you do is focus on your job. When you're at home, the distractions are here. Like, oh, you got friends and family, they need tickets, they're coming over, they're coming by, you're going out, you're making TikToks or whatever it is the young people do. And when you're in a Marriott in Oakland, you're not.
No, you're just sitting there. Maybe you're gaming a little bit, but you're not going, there's nowhere else that you're distracted or anything like that. And I actually think being on the road will be good for Ant in particular, because
that's what I was talking
sometimes
about.
he gets a little hyped up, he gets a little bit, everything like that, and I think going on the road will be good for him. So we'll see if that's true, but maybe calm him down a little bit.
Appreciate you, Michael Rand, Star Tribune. He's a real genius. Check him out. Got a cool podcast. Read his stuff. He's usually right, not all the time. Thanks for being on Breaking the News Plus, buddy.
Thank you. Sounds about right.
Thanks for joining us tonight on this Friday edition of Breaking the News Plus to talk Wolves. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next week.